what is going on. But this time it is very different. Why? Well, I can only speculate because I haven't been there. Not yet anyway. But I don't think I have a chance. Anyway, the point is, what is significant? Why do they want secrecy? That's the question that we need to ask. It is not just a cosy chat. You don't get people coming thousands of miles who are the leaders of the European Commission, who are the president of the World Bank or the WTO or the IMF, all coming here, not because they want to have a cup of tea in a Swiss hotel, but because they want to have complete frankness in their discussions. They want to have serious policy making, and in the state of current capitalism, they want to concert their plans. And it may be pretty brutal. I can well understand that that is what they're discussing. But the fact is, if they are discussing those things, the one group of people who ought to be involved is us, because we are the ones. This is going to affect the lives of every single one of us in the UK and the rest of the West. These are the people who are deciding our future, our livelihood, our jobs, and if you look at the bedroom tax, even our homes. So it's about time that we had this opened up. Now, I think that's an extremely reasonable request. I'll just say two other things. It so happens, I must say, the ironies in politics are never ending. It so happens that on Monday of this week, Cameron, as a result of the awful further revelations of sleaze in the House of Commons and the House of Lords, which I utterly deplore and should be punished, Cameron decided there was going to be a crackdown on lobbyists. And there was going to be transparency, and there was going to be an end to corruption. So how is it that at the end of the week, the biggest lobbyist group in Western capitalism meet in total secrecy? And one other thing, which you may have noticed in today's papers, wonderfully timed to fit in with the Bilderberg conference. You will know that they are very, very keen to know about every single email, telephone call, video, text message, all the online traffic that all of you and all of us are making billions and billions and billions of them. They want to track every single one through Facebook and all of the other social media, using MI5, MI6 and the GCHQ in Cheltenham. Well, what I say to them is, if you are so keen to know about every single email, etc. that we send, we want to know the basic message which is coming from you. And I'll see you afterwards. I'll just leave you with one final thing. I think what they should be discussing, and I bet they are discussing, is the one single biggest issue affecting the Western world, indeed the whole world, including China, and that is prolonged austerity. It is the single biggest issue which affects us all, and we should be involved in that. Now, let me say, the obvious thing is to look for an alternative to austerity. Why? Because the policy, even in its own terms, is failing. Because the decline in government tax receipts as a result of lack of growth exceeds the cuts in public expenditure which the government manages to make. That means the budget deficit under current policies is actually increasing, not declining. So why in heaven's name don't they change it? Well, I've got a lot of things that I could say to you about that, but the real point that I want to make is the obvious way to cut the deficit, which is much better for all of us anyway, is to expand the economy, put people back to work so that they are starting to pay taxes instead of taking benefits, and that is the quickest way to kickstart the economy and get it going. So why don't they actually do it? Now let me tell you, Well, I know there are some people. Fortunately, I've got the microphone. I know that there are a lot of people who are concerned about growth, and growth cannot be endless. I totally agree. But in the current state of affairs, I think that is the right way forward. All I want to say is this. Osborne, if he were here, bless his cotton socks, would say, there you are, there's Labour again. Soon as there is a crisis over borrowing, the first thing they want to do is borrow more. Well, shall I tell you how we could do this without any increase in public borrowing at all? We own RBS, the Royal Bank of Scotland, and Lloyds. Why don't we tell them to invest in growth and jobs? We don't have to bribe them, we should tell them because we own them. Secondly, we've got this thing that no one understands called quantitative easing. What it means is electronic printing of money. We printed £375 billion of money and given it to the banks. Have we seen any results out of that? No, we haven't. Why instead don't we use a much smaller proportion of that and invest directly in manufacturing, in industry and services and create the jobs and growth that we and the rest of the Western world needs? But this is my very final point. I'm a politician after all, they always go on. The fact is, the best way to deal with this crisis is to tax the rich. Did you hear that? I said the best way to deal with this crisis is to tax you lot. The fact is, I will ask you one final question. Just think, in the last 4 years since the financial crash, which has caused all of us to have to tighten our belts, some disastrously, what would you say has happened to the 1,000 richest persons in the UK?
FT100 directors.
Next question.
How much extra pay?
Just 1,000 persons. We're talking about 0.003% of the population. Absolutely minuscule number. How much has their wealth increased? Well, you won't know. This comes from the Sunday Times richly. Their wealth has increased by £190 billion in the last 4 years. Just 1,000 people. I think we have a message for them. Don't tell us that we're going to tighten our belts. How about you lot paying your proper and due taxes? Not corporate tax avoidance, not tax havens, but fair burdens. Thank you very much indeed for coming. And I must say it's wonderful to have an opportunity like this. This is worth 1 million parliamentary debates. And I tell you, so all the very best. Thank you for coming. I think our message is getting home. All power to your elbow. Thank you.